Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 2 of An Object a Day with your host, Dan. That's me. Uh, this is the show where we answer humanity's oldest question, why is this stuff in my house? We're coming to you from sunny tropical Ballston Spa, New York. And by the way, I have a movie podcast. Go check it out. It's called The Nominee Questionable Movies. Google that. Make sure to include the questionable movies, and I do it with my inimitable co-host Ron. And also check out my store where I sell a lot of stuff, basically like this. It's called Silver Factory Books and Records, and it's in upstate New York. And again, sunny tropic Ballston Spa. So what have I got for you guys today? And for me too, because I should be, and I am getting something out of this. I hope you're all having a good time, living your best life. Cool. So what do we got in front of us? This is an empty can of soda. I think that's the less charitable explanation of what this is. As you can see, there's a pop tab. It's from the early 90s. The tabs used to look not super different, but a little bit different. I think they got rid of the flat part. The top here, I think that got more rounded over time. But yeah, when you get a collectible soda can, and believe it or not, there are people who, their big collecting thing is they collect soda cans. This is the only one not in my recycling, so that should tell you something about it. And so, yeah, and bottom of it looks like normal soda can. Went bad in November 1994. So just in case this is what you came for, this is not a taste test video. Sorry about that. Anyway, so this is a can of OK Soda. So OK Soda was briefly made by the Coca-Cola Company. It should say that. Yep, right there. So copyright 1994, the Coca-Cola Company. And yeah, so OK Soda was a pretty weird little experiment from Coca-Cola. They only brought it into like I think one or two test markets, and there's like a recipe to make bootleg OK Soda online. I tried it once with some friends, and I think it was basically just like you mix orange soda with Dr. Pepper. It was a little weird. I mean, it wasn't like unpleasant. It wasn't like spicy or anything like that. But, obviously I never had the real stuff. Prob- Let's look at these nutrition facts. Yeah, it's probably better that I never had the real stuff. And, I haven't recycled this little cartoon man, but, I mean, it's not in the garbage, so I think that kind of fulfills the spirit of it. And so this is a very interesting soda can. OK Soda was supposed to attract disaffected Gen Xers, the kind that were increasingly showing up in movies like, Clerks and Reality Bites. And I think more to the point here in alternative, so-called alternative, non-superhero comic books. This particular can is designed and appears to be mostly hand lettered by Daniel Clowes. So Daniel Clowes is probably going to come up a fair amount in this series. So here's a quick introduction. And really, this picture on the front looks like he basically used a self portrait, so it's kind of fitting for giving background information here. So, cartoonist out of Chicago. Starts out with Cracked magazine in the mid 1980s. Does a few strips called The Ugly Family. Most of them, or perhaps all of them, under a pseudonym. I'd have to check that. Comes out with a magazine-sized comic while contributing to a bunch of anthologies like Twist and Real Stuff and a few others, mostly published by Fantagraphics. Although I think, yeah, he's in an issue of the initial, like the first volume of the Drawn and Quarterly anthology, and he does a crazy cover for that. I don't own that, but maybe we'll talk about it sometime. I can look at this stuff for hours. So Coca Cola wasn't going to have him sign this, so there's not a printed Clowes signature, but I don't know how it could look more obviously like the work of Daniel Clowes, especially from the period this would have been in. Honestly, like this is a weird period for them. You know, a huge multinational corporation like Coca Cola to go after Daniel Clowes because he was, in the first half of his run on his own kind of anthology series, Eight Ball, which produced the graphic novels, most famously Ghost World, which was turned into a movie that Clowes worked on. But also like a Velvet Glove Cast and Iron, Caricature, The Manly World of Lloyd Llewellyn, a few collections of these hilarious short strips, 20th Century 8 Ball, Lout Rampage, a few others. He's very active around this period, and I don't want to say he takes a lot from Steve Ditko, but like in interviews, he'll say, very glowing things about Steve Ditko, and it's not hard to see why. Like, he doesn't pose his figures too much like Ditko, but they definitely share this affection for kind of pausing figures in an odd moment in time where, like, the fundamentals of the anatomy are correct, but they just look kind of awkward almost, or it feels like realistic human movement because of that. And everybody in their comics looks kind of nervous and sweaty or kind of intense. I don't think like the way Clowes draws facial features is particularly similar to Ditko. Very different eyes than Ditko. Although I don't know, maybe if I grabbed a Ditko comic, I'd feel differently about that. So we got a little bit of some kind of comics here. Very 90s alt comics kind of drawing here. You have these kind of kind of isolated suburban wasteland landscapes all over a lot of that stuff. Little word bubble thingamadoodle. And there's so much to look at on this for being, what intended to be a disposable can of soda. So they had a few kind of weird promotional campaigns they planned for this. Some of them went into effect. And yeah, so you have this crazy little story here. The night he first tried OK Soda, Rick B. of Aurora, Colorado, put a full can under his pillow and went to sleep. He dreamed he was crawling through an endless gravel pit, parched with thirst, when he awoke. His thirst had disappeared, and he felt strangely satisfied. Note, the can of OK, still unopened, was empty. this is only a coincidence. And so they did a few TV ads. I don't know where they ran. I mean, I probably the test market. And they had like an announcer voice guy, but they told him to kind of do like his best slacker voice. And the art on this is gorgeous. The stark black and white is just really like having the barcode be silver and the rest of it be black. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that on a soda can. And having it be this guy's eyes, like, I don't know what the story is here. He's in the same kind of awkward, stilted, standing with his arms at his sides, presumably kind of pose as the picture of this guy who looks suspiciously like Dan Clowes on the front. But lots of odd design choices, and the top is lettered by Clowes. Clowes is maybe, for my money, he's probably the best letterer in comics. He hand letters a lot of his covers. There's books where, like, in Ice Haven, he comes up with a different title page for every single page, as if it was like a newspaper Sunday insert. Yeah, like, this is great lettering. This is what we wish Comic Sans MS was. And you have more of this kind of like, I guess, like, in the 60s, like, tune in, turn on, drop out. And in the early 90s, there's just this very pronounced fascination with the dropping out part. OK Soda says, don't be fooled into thinking there has to be a reason for everything. Like kind of like Fire Sign Theater-y, like, definitely the closest you're going to get with that from a fucking Coke can. Like, and the last thing I think to point out here is the 1-800 I feel okay line thing. So there's no description why you should call this phone number. I think there's a recording of it somewhere. It's probably on YouTube. I feel like I heard it. Yeah, I definitely heard it at some point. You'd call this answering machine, and the announcer voice would just kind of say these ridiculous, like, fake Zen platitudes. This is just a weird object. It fits in with the other Daniel Clowes stuff in the house. It kind of is a nice little breather visually between, the kind of endless spines of a lot of the other stuff on the shelves. And it's just a gorgeous piece of ephemera. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed looking at a can of soda for 13 minutes with me. If you have any thoughts about this, is there an empty can of soda in your house? Leave it in the comments. And until tomorrow, this is Dan, and this has been an Object a Day. Go check out Silver Factory Books and Records in upstate New York. It's at Ballston Spa. It's in Ballston Spa, New York. And we got a lot of cool stuff kind of in the vein of this, because I'm the guy who has been buying all of it. So anyway, I'll see you at the vending machine.